Kellyanne Conway's been under fire for a controversial Oval Office picture, but some people may be taking it too far. Let's discuss now with Joseph Pirelli, the councilman for the 51st District of New York City, Charmaine Yost, American Values Senior Fellow, CNN political contributor Hillary Rosen, and CNN political commentator Bakari Sellers. Good evening to all of you. So, Charmaine, I'm going to start with you. Representative Cedric Richmond made a cringeworthy joke about this picture of Kellyanne Conway kneeling on the Oval Office couch, and he said in part, "I really just want to know what was going on there because I won't tell anybody, and you can just explain it to me, that circumstance, because she really looked kind of familiar there in that position there, but don't answer, and I don't want you to refer back to the 90s. What's your reaction to that?
Don, that's just absolutely appalling, and there's no excuse for it. And the thing that's really troubling to me is there's been so little commentary coming from the left. You know, where is Nancy Pelosi condemning this? You know, he really should have by now come out with an apology. And instead, he started dancing around and trying to say that it was just a Southern expression. Well, look, I'm from the South, and that dog won't hunt. This is just a really appalling undermining of a woman in power that should be being condemned across the board. You know, I have to say, I saw that Hillary had condemned it right before we came on air. I appreciate that, but we need to see that a whole lot more coming from the left.
Hillary, go ahead.
Well, I thought it was a stupid thing to say. You know, kind of shocking from a congressman, but I don't think it's I thought the whole picture story got a little bit too much attention anyway. You know, Kellyanne sort of kneeling on the couch was an internet meme for 2 days. Really, it was more interesting that the HBCU college presidents who met with the President Trump actually were kind of unsatisfied with the results of the meeting and disappointed at sort of his lack of support for the education. That to me was the story. Instead, everyone talked about Kellyanne kneeling on the couch for 2 days.
And then
I thought it was stupid, and I thought that Congressman Richmond was obnoxious for making a joke about it.
We didn't do the story on this particular program because the photo you see there was taken out of context. She was trying to get a picture of the people, and then maybe she was, you know, sitting back down looking at her camera or whatever. We didn't actually think it was a story. What has become, see, there she is, she's taking a picture. What has become the story now is really the response to this picture. So Bakari, a few minutes before that comment and at the same event, Senator Tim Scott jokingly said, "Has anyone seen the controversy around Kellyanne Conway and the couch in the Oval Office? Come on, people, you remember the 90s. That couch has had a whole lot of worse things. Come on now." And you say both men cross the line between comedy and offensive. Explain that.
Well, I think that it was inappropriate anytime you're talking about a woman who is of that stature, regardless of how you feel about Kellyanne Conway and her, shall I say, lack of affinity for the truth or propensity just to tell falsehoods. I think that was disrespectful, and it crossed the line for both of them. Yeah. I think I can say this, and I will say this to both of their faces, because I'm actually friends with Senator Scott and friends with Congressman Richmond. And I think that both of them will tell you that in hindsight it's probably something they should not have said. It's a conversation that should not be had, even in a joking manner. But I don't think that I'm any better than them. I've made the same mistakes before. And my goal is to make sure that my daughter and my wife look at me proudly every time I come in. And I think that this is a moment that we can all learn and say that sexism against anyone, no matter your political differences, is intolerable.
I'm glad you said sexism, because I don't think that comment would have been made about a man. Go ahead, Joseph.
Exactly.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. You know, had that been Steve Bannon or Jared Kushner or anyone else in the administration, no one would have been making a comment like that. It was inappropriate for both of them, frankly, to make such a thing. This is not late-night shtick comedy. You know, SNL could have their way with Kellyanne. That's part of being in government. That's part of the culture we live in. Senators, members of Congress are not late-night comedians and shouldn't be making sexual comments, sexual innuendos about a woman who is in the highest level of our government and rightfully is one of the most successful women of our generation.
Yeah.
By the way, at the time, you know, I said that the Saturday Night Live skit was out of bounds as well and sexist.
Yeah.
Well, that's it exactly. I was going to say exactly the same thing, that SNL really kind of started this hypersexualization of critiquing Kellyanne and doing it in such a misogynistic way. And the fact that she's a conservative, pro-life woman in such a position of power has made her a real target in a way that is unprecedented hostility to
No, that's
a
not.
woman
That's
in a
not. That's
position
not
like
true
that.
either.
I
I mean,
don't know about
that's
that,
just.
right.
But time out. But that's not true either, because what we did not
mean,
hear is
come
you
on.
coming to the rescue of. We did not hear you coming to the rescue of Michelle Obama when Republicans were criticizing her arms out. And look, I mean, the criticisms went above and
You
beyond.
don't know
the
what
pale
I
for
said
the
about
former-
Michelle
for the,
Obama.
For the former. Well, just point it out. Prove me wrong. From the former First Lady. And the fact is that this is not a partisan issue at all. I mean, you have me and Joe who. I think the only thing we like politically in common is the style of New York pizza. We don't really like
Amen.
anything else. But we're sitting here telling you that this is sexist and misogynistic. But please do not make it something it's not. And if you were someone who came to the rescue of Michelle Obama during these attacks where people called her butt fat, where people call her looking like a gorilla, where people went up and down chastising the way that
Whenever
the First
I
Lady
had an
looked because her arms were out, then please correct me if I'm wrong, because I would like to be corrected.
But Bakari, I actually agree with you.
I can say right now that those kind of comments about Michelle Obama were out of bounds. But I'm saying that
I mean,
Kellyanne
but just tell me
Conway
when
has
you came
been
to her
attacked.
rescue. When did you come to her rescue when this was going on? I mean, you cannot be hypocritical and say that, oh my God, now Kellyanne Conway is some type of feminist hero because she's being criticized, but yet you didn't come to the rescue of Michelle Obama. All I'm saying is what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
You're completely
and we
doing a
need to
straw
make sure
man
that we
here
need to do
about
this.
bringing up a
Well,
record
respond.
that has nothing to do with the current situation. Kellyanne, the way that Kellyanne is coming under attack right now is so out of bounds and is so over the top. You know, the SNL and open the door for this kind of thing from a sitting congressman to attack a woman of power in the White House. It's really, it should have been condemned really strongly. And
Okay.
I feel like you bringing that back around is really a complete straw man.
I've got to get to a break. We'll discuss on the other side. We'll be right back.